with your new friend Ty.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Tea Party Podcast. It's the podcast where you find new friends and new music. And this week, I'm joined by an old friend, a North Carolina native who once called the nation's capital home, but recently he's been hanging out in the Music City quite a bit. And he just released a debut EP. And in fact, we're recording this on release day. Let's welcome back the one and only Roger Dale. Roger, man, how the heck are you?
I am good, man. How are you? Thanks so much for having me again. This is awesome.
Absolutely. Welcome back. It was a blast the last time. I expect the same thing this time, man.
Yeah, man. It's like a full circle moment speaking with you because when I spoke to you last year, I had just released, I think, 1 or 2 singles. Mm-hmm. And flash forward, I have an EP out, 4 singles prior to that, and I have 2 music videos that are coming out in the next week.
Whew, and we will definitely dig into all that when we tee off with Roger next.
It's time to tee off with Ty and today's guest, Roger Dale. Here comes the first 4.
Okay, Roger, here we go. Before we get into the meat of everything, let's start off with some fun. We call it the first 4. And question number 1 is, if you couldn't be in the entertainment or law industry, what job would you have?
I would be a teacher, English teacher for probably high school, 10th or 11th grade.
You were ready with that one. Seems like you spent some time thinking about that before.
Yeah. Yep. Before I went to law school, when I was an undergrad, when I went to NC State, I wanted to be a sports broadcaster, and I was waitlisted because it's such a competitive program. I decided I would go. I love reading, and so I took a lot of literature classes, and I love British literature. And 10th and 11th grade is around the time that you explore that type of literature. So that's probably why.
Well, and I feel like that helped you with your law career, being into reading, because there is a ton of words.
Hey, man, a lot of reading. So, yeah, it definitely did.
Okay, how about this one? If I give you control of the music at a party, what's the first song you're going to play to get everybody up and going?
Oh, my, this is a good one. Probably a Pink song, one of the punk rock ones she did. That album, I'm coming out, so you better get the party started. Coming out, I'm coming. There
you go. You're just going to tell people this is where the party's at. It's starting. I like it.
All right, and dance.
There you go. Okay, how about this? If you could bring a character from TV or movies to life, like bring him into the real world, who would it be?
Oh, probably Willy Wonka.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that was my favorite movie growing up as a child. In fact, I watched it so many times, my mom had to replace the VHS tape because I wore it out. So, I know the whole movie, all the lines and all the songs, literally from memory.
Have you seen the real life Willy Wonka search that's going on right now?
No.
Yeah. So there's this guy that he's the original inventor of Jelly Bellies. And he sold off the recipe forever ago, and he owns this candy factory. And he's been doing these little scavenger hunts around the country to kind of qualify people. And now he's just taking open entries. He hid something in the Midwest, and if you find it, you get to take over his candy factory.
Clever. That's all. I need to figure this out because I need a golden ticket of some sort.
There you go. I'll have to send you the details after this. You get out there and get yourself a little candy factory, be your own Willy Wonka.
Exactly.
I feel like we kind of answered this question already, but last question of the first 4. If you could have an unlimited supply of anything, whiskey, tacos, guitar strings, scotch tape, whatever, what would it be?
Gosh, an unlimited amount. Probably, right now in my life, I'd probably say IPA, a good solid IPA, a juicy haze one.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah,
I like where your head's at. I was half expecting you just to say candy.
No, see,
follow the Willy Wonka thing.
I don't even like candy a lot. I just love that movie because of all of the. There's a lot of lessons in it, and I just love Yeah.
Awesome, man. That was the first 4. Thanks for playing along. But now let's kind of take a step back for anybody that missed the first episode. Give us kind of a Cliff Notes version of growing up and tell us how you got into music and how you ended up in DC.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in the eastern part of North Carolina. I grew up in a tribal community. I'm Lumbee tribe of North Carolina, and we're the largest tribe east of the Mississippi. And growing up, my faith has always been integral to my who I am as a man and as a person. And my mom was very involved in church. She was a youth choir director for a little while, and I was probably about 8 or 9. I just was fascinated with music. I just loved the way the choir would sing on Sundays and the harmonies would stack. And this is before I understood the technical stuff, but the sound, it mesmerized me. And I would watch her direct the choir, and when we would get home, she would just like encourage me to sing because she heard me humming. And from that time on, I just always loved music. And as I progressed in high school, and probably my first 2 years of college, I was in local theater. So I did straight drama like Shakespeare, and I did a lot of musical theater. And I was singing in a local troupe in my high school, like doing a cappella stuff for like football games, basketball games. I was in the marching band, played trumpet all 4 years. And so music was always integral to who I was as a person. But when I started college, it was so demanding, I had to put it on the back burner for a little while. And just kind of hunkered down and focused on my academics. And, and like I told you before, I got waitlisted at NC State, go Wolfpack. And I still love my Wolfpack, but they waitlisted me. I wanted to be a sports broadcaster to say, he's going in for the final shot. He's going in, he scores, the game's over. They're like, yeah, no, we're waitlisting you, buddy. And it's kind of how I ended up majoring in public communications. And then I saw a need for advocacy for underrepresented communities because growing up in an impoverished community in Native American, I just saw firsthand just how hard it was. And so without representation, there's going to be no progression. So I applied to law school, got in law school, and fell in love with civil rights law. And that's what drove me to DC. I knew I had to be there. It's the hub. And I went up there to practice, and I've been practicing civil rights law since. I've worked for the federal government. I've worked for private law firms, but I've always stuck to employment discrimination. And 3 years ago, I needed an outlet because, as you know, with a profession like that, it can be very stressful. And I decided to get a vocal coach because I love to sing. And from that, I found the passion for writing, and it's changed my life. I write every day. I've probably written over 300 songs now, to be honest, man. And it's just singer-songwriters vibe and a walk that I never thought I would have, but I cannot imagine doing music without writing along the way because I love telling stories. And that's kind of what enticed me to want to transition from law to music, and particularly country music, because the stories are so compelling and the songwriting down here is just so pure, and it just sucks you in. No matter if it's a sad song, a mid-tempo song, or upbeat song, there's a story. And that's how I ended up in music. And I write probably more than I practice my vocals recently because I've been traveling a lot. But yeah, I'm a singer-songwriter, and that's what drove me to Music City.
Well, and you talk about, living in DC as a civil rights lawyer over the last year or so. That had to be a pretty interesting place. And then you moved to Nashville as a singer-songwriter. And now, that's a place where I'm sure there's just as much electricity around that topic, just in a different way. I mean, as a songwriter, you're in the mix of everything in Nashville. And as a civil rights lawyer, you're kind of in the mix of everything in DC. But those have got to be kind of different, but the same, right?
Yeah, because what we're seeing right now, I mean, we're seeing this where people are finally starting to wake up to social inequalities, because this is something that has, in my opinion, even before I went to law school, I took notice of it. It has oppressed society for so long, but in particular, the United States. And so right now we are at a crossroads where we have to decide, are we better than this? And if we are, who's going to speak out for us? And so me being a civil rights attorney, it has been what I thought was going to be hard, turned out to be an easy transition, because the same way I write compelling briefs, the same way I write a compelling appeal for a court, I bring that same tenacity and devotion and dedication to my songwriting. So when I sat down the night of the Capitol riots up in DC and the overthrow of the Capitol. My mom was visiting me at the time because I was going through a stressful time with work and kind of trying to keep my music afloat. And I just was on edge. I was like, we're about to go through a presidency change and my job is going to be impacted. And that night when it happened, literally, I felt chills because it felt that was probably the most, I guess, isolation I felt my whole time living in DC. I felt scared. And in fact, that I couldn't defend myself or my mom because there was just this influx of hatred. And I mean, across the lines. And so you could hear sirens and there was helicopters and there was protesters. And I'm 15 minutes from DC, but that's how far out it was. People had signs and they were getting on the metro to go in, and they knew that the Capitol had been overthrown, but people still were going. And it just I was taken aback, and I journaled that and I channeled all that into my song, One World, One Love.
And we do have that for everybody to take a listen to a little bit later on, but I kind of want to stay on that topic for just a minute because you're jumping into country music with this very civil rights background where you understand kind of the struggles and you understand that everybody's kind of, I guess, waking up more or less to these injustices. And it's also a time where country music seems to be going through this sort of transformation itself, where it's kind of this microcosm of everything that's happening across the country, but you're seeing it in country music. And you just mentioned it. You've got a song that kind of addresses that and addresses the feelings behind that. Is that something that you're hoping to, I guess, accomplish with your music? Is not just give people something to listen to, but also something to think about?
100%. Because for myself and my artistry, I will not put anything out that I cannot feel something in my heart. And I mean, whether it bring up a memory that resonates in my brain because my heart was pulled into that place again of heartache, but I was able to overcome it, or am I acknowledging something and I'm noticing it like visually, but not speaking out on it. And so for me, I've never been one to bite my tongue and hold back the way I feel. And yes, there is, and not just country music, honestly, because if you look across the board in all genres of music, what one major record label do you know has a Native American artist signed? Not one. And that's pop, that's rock, that's R&B, that's folk, that's country. That's not fair and it's not equitable. And so for me, yeah, it's always going to, like, I wrote a song about PTSD awareness because I've worked for the Department of Defense as a legal consultant, and I've witnessed firsthand how traumatic that could be, not only on the military, but as they transition back in the civilian world, they still deal with PTSD. And so that's what Chasing Blue is all about. And One World, One Love, it is a compelling song, not only from a writing standpoint, but from working with Justine and Corey Barker, in that they helped me bring what I journaled to life, because it made no sense to me what happened at the nation's capital. It was the most asinine thing I've ever witnessed, because to work and fight and defend the Constitution, I lifted my right hand to uphold the Constitution and I watched it crumble within like 2 or 3 hours. And so I feel that I have a reason and I have an obligation and a duty to speak out against these injustices. I will always. And I'll write about domestic violence because I witnessed that firsthand from my mom and aunts. And so, yeah, I'm very real and honest. And I bring that to my songwriting, because if not, what is the purpose? That's what I think. Yeah, we want to listen to great music and we want to jam out, but we also want a song that just tugs at our heartstrings and we can't get out of our mind and it resonates with us somehow. And that's what, as a songwriter and a singer, you can always expect that from me.
Well, I think that's a perfect segue into the EP that just came out today. It's called Phases and Stages, and it's sort of this emotional ride through kind of relationships and becoming a person, I guess, and kind of becoming as your own. And I'm kind of interested in, not just how song names come about, but how did you decide on the name Phases and Stages? It seems pretty straightforward based on the songs. So I guess the question more so is, what came first? Was it these songs that you wanted to package in this way, or did you have this idea that your EP should say this certain thing, and then you kind of wrote around that?
So about a year and a half ago, before I met you the first time, and before I first ever landed or visited Nashville, which was July of last year, I had already been writing probably about a year. And I write every day. Honestly, I write every day, whether I write a song or a verse or just a few lines. But one Saturday, I was just writing a song, and it wasn't even one of the songs that is on my EP album. But as I was writing that song, the concept, phases and stages, just entered my brain. And I just sat there and I pondered on it, and I said, that's what love is like. That's what love will do. You'll go through phases and stages of love, right? So when you first start dating someone, it is what they call the honeymoon stage. And as you transition, you go through different phases of love where you still love that person, but there are days you're like, I'm having a moment, and you need to understand that. And so that's a phase. It's not a stage. But when you find love and you transition through life, you're going to go through the stages, right? The infancy of love we just met is that romantic honeymoon stage. And then we'll go through the next stage of we have kids and our family and the stresses of life, but I still love you. And as you get old, that's the next stage. And hopefully we all end up with that one person we die with, and that'll be the final stage in the afterlife. So I kind of held on to the title Phases as well for the album title, Phases and Stages. And I just continue to write. I love writing about love, whether it's uplifting or speaking out and kind of letting people know that it's okay to be heartbroken. Like, it's okay not to be okay. And that's what I when I thought of Phases and Stages, you nailed it. I wanted it to be a roller coaster ride, all pertaining to love, the ins and outs of love, whether it be a romantic love, your love that you love for your mom or your family or siblings, or a friend that you love that you've seen go through things, right? Like White Noise. That's from a perspective of one of my close female friends. I've watched her, in a way, allow guys to just make her feel like she's not intelligent. She's probably the smartest person I know. And I thought of that song, White Noise, is like, take heed. There are people out there that's going to take away your joy and your positivity. And so that's another part of the roller coaster ride of love. And Phases and Stages stuck with me. And when I started working with Justine, I told her about it. And we started with Boys Like Me, and we built around it. And I wanted to be a concept album, but I wanted to have a common theme, which is love.
Well, and we actually have the first track off of the album here. I didn't do it on purpose, but my two favorite songs off of the album happen to be the first and the last song. So we've got these to show to everybody to kind of, show them what it's like at the beginning and what it's like at the end. But give us kind of the backstory of how Boys Like Me came about. I was in here, taking notes for the interview, just getting ready, and my wife was sitting next to me, and I had that song on. She goes, I love this song. This song's fantastic. So give us the idea of where it came from.
Thank you. Well, so Boys Like Me, the concept, my friend Adam, last year, I think when I spoke to you, I had introduced Struck Gold and Pieces, but Adam and I write together a lot. And we haven't recently just because we've both been busy. But last year when COVID hit, pretty much every day and every weekend, it was like we would talk and vent. And we had a conversation where it was like, I don't know, I was single, and I just like, why is it that good guys, we always have to go above and beyond? Not saying I'm not being arrogant, but I feel like I'm a good guy, and I always try to showcase that and go above and beyond when I'm romantically involved with someone. But there's always that moment where you see someone, you're like, man, that's just basic. And what about guys like me? Like, we don't have to go out to the club or the bar. We can cruise around town. If you want to hang out at home on the couch, want to be cuddled, I'm down for that. And if you're feeling down, I can be goofy and make you laugh. And if I can't make you laugh, I'll figure out something else to bring a smile back. And that's just what it was. Boys Like Me starts with the beginning of a relationship where it's flirtatious and getting to know each other. And then time passes and, you start falling more and more in love. And then there's a proposal, and you go through the transition to marriage, and it's going to be rocky and it's going to be hard. But the job of the song, and I think that we did our best to convey it, is to the core, good always prevails, whether it's in like a guy thinking, man, I'm a good guy and I'm always finishing last, or, you know, guys like, I'll do whatever it takes to make you happy. That's what that song is. That's the concept behind it. And I feel like every line pulls into that, and it brought it to life.
Well, here, let's give everybody a chance to listen to this one. It's brand new music from Roger Dale. It's called Boys Like Me off of his new EP, Phases and Stages.
A pickup line and a glass of wine. Just never knew you'd give me the time. Then you hit me, baby, with just a wink. And I gave you a nod, you know what I think. When you didn't turn away, I knew I had to stay. Boys like me ain't run of the mill. We can show you more than just a damn cheap thrill. Take you uptown where city lights glow, or stay on the couch and hold you close. Cruising around in our little hometown, making you laugh when you're feeling down. You'll have more than you ever dreamed of. That's how it is with boys like me. Years, still hearts on fire. Every single day you're still what I desire. Our love is strong, every moment is new. Till the end of time, just me and you. I saved every last dime, 'cause I knew it was time. Because boys like me ain't run of the mill. We can show you more than just a damn cheap thrill. Take you uptown where city lights glow, or stay on the couch and hold you close. Cruising around in our little hometown, making you laugh when you're feeling down. You'll have more than you ever dreamed of. That's how it is with boys like me. Pop the question down on one knee. I could see it all, sweet family. The rasta doves and the wedding band, honeymoon kiss and toes in the sand. Boys like me ain't run of the mill. We can show you more than just a damn cheap thrill. Take you uptown where city lights glow. Stay on the couch and hold you close. Cruising around in our little hometown, making you laugh when you're feeling down. You'll have more than you ever dreamed of. That's how it is with boys like me. I can give you more than you ever dreamed of. That's how it is with boys like me. That's how it is.
That one was Boys Like Me by Roger Dale. And Roger, that one was co-written by a great producer and a friend of the show, Justine Blazer. And she's been working pretty closely with you, not just on this, but kind of on all of your releases. How much has she helped you through this process of releasing an EP and kind of building a music career from the ground up?
Oh my goodness. She is truly the backbone. She's more integral to all of this than anybody I've met along my journey. When I met Justine it's been almost a year ago. Initially, it was just, I was enamored with her work. Truly I was. And I reached out to one of our common connections and I said, hey, I don't know her, and I don't want to just randomly send her a message on Instagram or something like that. But I would love it if she would take my music and just listen to it and maybe consider working up with me on a single. But I really was looking for someone to help me bring my debut EP to life here in Nashville. And it had to be someone that I knew was serious about it. And Justine embodies everything that I have that is instilled in me. Hard work, hard work ethic, she's tenacious, she's brilliant, she thinks outside of the box, she can write a mean song. And the way that she understands music, her music IQ is just truly genius, man. And just from that, we started with one song, and she kind of knew instantly that I was a singer-songwriter. And she said, would you be interested in doing some co-writes down here? And we could put those on the EP and see what happens. And as we would work together, I just become more and more enamored. And I was like, this is fascinating. And I said, you're going to be my producer. You're going to produce this whole album. And that was it. You know, she didn't even force it on me. She said, you know, I'd love to be part of your album, but I would love to work on a cohesive project versus giving you a single here and there. And then you put this EP out that has 3 or 4 producers. And I love that because I'm a big fan of 90s country tunes. And you look back, some of the biggest singers, they had one producer they loved to work with. Like, look at Adele, look at Chris Stapleton, look at Sam Hunt. You can even look at Sam Smith. They all have this one producer that they have this friendship with that turns into a kinship. And that's what Justine and I have. It's deeper than music, but we have that same work ethic, that dedication, and that tenacity to bring the country music. And she allows me to be myself, to speak freely, and she just helps cultivate my voice to kind of bring the message to life. And without her, I really don't, this EP would not even be here, much less me even down in Nashville talking about an album I have out. So yeah, she's been truly, she was the biggest blessing for me last year and even this year more so. And she always has my best interest. And I know beyond music, I have a friend because of our connection and the love we have for music.
Well, and she does so much more than you would expect from a producer. A lot of times people hear producers and they don't understand kind of everything that's behind it. But Justine doesn't just like hang out and, you know, add to the song or a little bit. From everything that I've seen, she is fully on board and believes in everybody that she works with. And even with you guys just put out a song like a month ago, right? Chasing Blue.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Was that something that you guys built together and you knew you both wanted to be on it? Or was that just part of kind of how the song developed?
That's right. Well, it's kind of how cool our friendship is and how special it is, because I wrote that song 2 years ago because I started understanding PTSD from a personal place, and then I started researching it independently, and I would read articles and speak to therapists and psychiatrists to better understand it. And I wrote Chasing Blue as a poem. And about probably back in March, after I'd flew down to Nashville to finish my EP, the recording in the studio. And it was just on my heart in April because June is PTSD Awareness Month. And I sent the poem over /song to Justine. And she said, this is great. Would you like me to help you on it? I think we need some revisions. And she said, it would probably be great if we could add a female vocal on it. And I was like, duh, that's you. And she was like, well, I said, no, it's going to be you. And I said, it could be a great feature for us because like you said, I mean, Justine truly can do anything. I mean, she has her own very successful singer-songwriter career. She's a songwriter. She's singing, getting sync. And I'm still new to the whole sync thing, but like she's constantly busy and she's producing amazing music with independent artists like me. I mean, and she 100% is committed. And that's what I love about her. And when I brought Chasing Blue to her and I, told her the story behind it, she didn't hesitate. And we just made it happen. And we just have built this relationship where when we really focus, things get to moving. And I trust her with all of her critiques because she has the best interest. It's never from a vicious, malicious place. She's like, okay, that don't sound good because... And I'm like, thank you, because otherwise they're like, what do you mean? So we just have a
always
cool,
constructive. I love it.
I love it. Yeah, me too.
Well, so we've got another song off of the album. It's the one that we've been talking about this whole time. It's called The One World, One Love. This one also written with Justine, also written with Corey Lee Barker. Give us a story about how this song came about, and then I want to talk about the music video after everybody hears it.
So for One World, One Love, Justine, when she and I started working together, she knew that I lived very close to the Capitol because I'm in the DMV, and that I worked for the government. And the day of the overthrow, she called me and she's like, "How are you?" And I was just watching the news and I was pretty numb, to be honest. I couldn't cry and I wasn't angry. I was very numb. And she's like, "I noticed a lot for you outside of music. I wanted to call you because, my background as an attorney." And another, just side note, my specialization, even though usually you don't do it in law school, I got an advanced law degree from American University, Washington School of Law, and my focus was civil rights and constitutional law. So that's kind of where I was like, outside of my civil rights advocacy, this undermines the Constitution. And it makes no sense to me that we are still watching this on TV, that there are people still climbing across the fences. And not only that, they're climbing through the windows at the Capitol. And she just was, "I'm here for you. If you need anything, text me, call me." And then I just was texting her. She said, "You should journal all of this." And that's what I did that night. And from that, I sent her my notes and she said, "I want you to let's do a virtual thing." Thank God for Zoom, right? Because we were still dealing with COVID. And she said, "Let's do a virtual co-write." Corey Lee Barker, which I did not know him much at the time, but boy, you talking about brilliant. And she told him the background story. He didn't have the notes or anything, and it was very organic. We just kind of had about an hour and a half on a Zoom call. He was with his guitar, sitting with Justine with her guitar. We talked it out for a bit, and we just started writing a song, and it literally, a whole entire song came to life probably in an hour. And it is One World, One Love. It's probably one of the most profound songs I've ever heard, because the words behind it, when all three of our minds joined forces, it just was this: there's no place for ignorance anymore. It needs to stand aside because there's one world, one love, not just in our country, but in the world. This has got to stop. And that's how it came into existence. And it was so natural too. It didn't feel forced, not one word.
No, I mean, it definitely feels like a song that was written about an emotion, if that makes sense.
It was all, yeah, it does. And it was truly.
Well, here, let's give everybody a chance to listen to it, and then we'll talk about the music video. This one's One World, One Love by Roger Dale.
Awesome.
Why the hell do folks gotta act this way? We should be ashamed of who we become. I fall asleep to sounds of sirens and such. Broken people fighting about God knows what. How did we fall so far when's enough enough? We should be one world, one love, one dream rising above, united, not divided, and delighted in the land of the free. I believe in unity, one world, one love. And neighbors turning their backs, holding tight to everything they have, even though their cup has overflowed. Each one on their own, all alone in the face of the storm. Why can't we be one world, one love, different colors, different needs, but in some small way, are we all the same? Why can't we be one world, one love, one dream rising above, united, not divided, and delighted in the land of the free? I believe in unity, and it all starts with you and me. One world, one love. One world, one love.
That one World, One Love by Roger Dale off of his brand new EP. And Roger, we were actually going to record this episode in Nashville earlier this month, but you ended up kind of getting pulled away to film. Was it this music video?
Yeah. Yep. For One World, One Love.
So I know it's not out yet, but give us kind of a peek behind the scenes of what we can expect here.
So with the music video, Justine, the vision that she brought to me, which I thought was amazing, was we want the focus to be on the words. So it is a song of coming together, unity. And so with the song being out right now, and we knew that it was coming out with my album, we wanted something that was compelling, because to me, again, I love every song on this EP. I promise you, it's a press play, no skips, swear to God.
That's true.
But
I've listened to it 3 times today.
See, and I do, and it's mine. Don't you love albums like that? That's what I love growing up. Yeah. And so just with Justine, she said, we got to get something out, because we have another video that we put a lot of work into the first week of June. We had 3 different sets, and it's for my song Second Chance. That one is going to be like dynamite. I mean, it gives you all of that. Ooh, it's a little short movie. But for One World, One Love, the words are the focus. And so with this video, you can expect a lot of high level performing and a lot of focus on the words, because I had a full band with me and it was in a performance hall setting, and just really focusing on the words. That's what Justine was able to capture. And it's just like almost like at a concert, but through a video where we're just with the band and I was just singing, nothing, no fancy schmancy stuff, just pure lyrics and a damn good band.
And I've seen a few of the pictures, just across social media from you or Justine, and I'm excited to see this video because it just looks incredible. Based on hearing the song and seeing the pictures, I'm really excited. So we'll make sure to share that as well. But Roger, man, it has been an absolute blast. And again, we're going to have to do this again, maybe once a year is what we need to sign up for this one. And we'll definitely get the next one in person. We'll make sure that happens. But
absolutely, man. I tell you, I can't thank you enough. You've been on my journey with me. So this is a whole full circle moment. I've looked forward to talking to you, and finally we made it happen.
For sure, man. And before we let you go, we got to do the same thing we do every time. It's called the Final Four. You ready?
Yeah.
It's time for the Final Four.
Okay, question number 1. What's your favorite venue that you've ever played in?
Favorite venue? I haven't played in a big one.
I was going to say, it's kind of tough because you started your career sort of during COVID.
It is. But I mean, I did recently get to play in my hometown to a big crowd of Lumbees. So that was the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced. So to date, playing in Pembroke, my hometown.
Nice. Okay. How about this? Who are your 3 most recently played artists on your Spotify or Apple?
Carrie Underwood and Jason Aldean, that duet they have out right now is dynamite. I've played it probably 100 times. I've been listening to a lot of Amy Winehouse. I've probably, because I'm practicing some of her music. And then the other one is Andrew Janakis. His new EP is amazing.
Nice. Okay, how about this one's specifically for you because you're still not officially located in Nashville. What's your favorite part of town? Are you a Midtown guy, or are you hanging out on Broadway?
I like Broadway, but my vibe 100% once I get settled in completely is East Nashville.
Okay.
It has the coolest music scene. It's probably the only place that I found down here that has the best IPA selection. And it's just an eclectic group of people, like from the clothes they wear to the music they like, and just the conversations I've had with people in passing. I just love East Nashville.
Okay, that's a good one. We, like I said, we were just there, and we've narrowed down the neighborhoods, but haven't picked a favorite yet. We were only there for 4 days, so we're gonna have to come out for longer. But Roger, last question here: if you could pick one thing for people to take away from this podcast and from your music in general, what would it be?
To always remember to have hope, regardless of anything that happens in life. Without hope, there's no purpose. And so I hope that everyone that listens to my music finds something that they can relate to, and from that they walk away with hope in their heart.
Always have hope. I love it. Summed it up right there, man. Thank you so much. And like I said, we'll definitely do this again in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. It's always a pleasure.
Definitely. And guys, that was another episode of the Tea Party Podcast. It's a country music podcast where you find new friends and new music like Roger Dale and his brand new EP, Phases and Stages.
Go tee off on the like button at facebook.com/Tea Party Podcast. This has been a Tea Party Communications production. Theme music created by Jesse Quandt. Announcer voiceovers by Gwinn. And as always, hosted by Pisani.